The most boring element of photography are batteries. Now, when you start in photography, you get your camera and you get your little battery like this, and life is good. You maybe buy 2 or 3 of them, you charge them overnight. It's not a big deal. Everything works fine. But as you do more and more photography, the charging conundrum becomes a bit of a plight. I remember vividly when I used to shoot weddings, having 4 Canon chargers, 3 AAA and AA chargers running simultaneously, setting an alarm for 2 in the morning to wake up, to change them over, to get them on charge. The whole thing is an absolute and I know this is a boring topic, but stick with me because it is important. So because of the volume I shoot at, because we're shooting regularly in the studio, whether it's for YouTube content or commercial work, we just have this battery disaster constantly going on. Now this is my main stills camera, and this is the same as my main video camera, but it's there. And I'm going to talk you through the what's, the whys, the hows, and why I'm now using these MOMAN batteries instead. So we started off, as you all did, with little LPE6s, whatever they're called. And the problem is, through the years, photography has changed. When I started, I'd have myself, my stylist, and everyone else, I'd look through the viewfinder, I'd take the shot. But now everyone wants to see the live view whilst they're setting it up, and this seems to just gradually creep into the industry. Now, as this crept in, I was going through 6 to 8 of these a day, which, fine, I own 12 of them. But the problem then is charging them all and constantly swapping over on chargers. And yes, I could probably buy 12 chargers, but that's not the answer. So this is no good. So I bought a dummy battery. And what a dummy battery is, it sits in here and it tells Canon, here is a battery, and it actually powers off something else. So I used one of these. We always call them Sony batteries because the Sony cameras had to use them. These are great. I'll probably go through 2 of these in a day. But these take forever to charge. And if you put them on the fast charge mode, it kind of, we can see from here, it's buckled and bowed because it's going to explode, which is why it's going in the bin shortly. But this didn't fix the problem either. Yes, it gave me longer time on here, but it was still going dead during the day, and the charging is days and days of charging after a big production. The other problem is with both of these, if you're doing a shot and it's got some sort of backplate or something like that, if you have to change the battery here, you knock this, and all of your shots then need aligning in post. Even with this remotely, the chances are this is going to move a little bit. You forgot to tighten it up. It becomes a bit of a pain. So then I went mains powered, and this obviously doesn't work for everybody, but for me, we plugged this in and we were good to go, shooting all day long. But, and there was another issue here. When I was mains powered, there was a cable going down to the floor, and what would happen is one of the assistants, myself, the digi, they'd unplug something and they'd turn the camera off, and then it disconnects to capture 1, and then you've got to close capture 1 down, restart capture 1, pull the tether cable out, put the tether cable back in again, hope it all works, and you've misaligned it. It didn't fix all of the problems. It fixed the charging problem, but if someone can make a human idiot error, we will, and we did. So that was no good. Then I bought the massive brick of a V-mount, and these are great because they kind of last 3 to 4 days of intense shooting, and even if you leave them on overnight, they're okay. But because they're so big, much like these here, they take ages to charge. And also, when I'm traveling to London to shoot, I take a couple of these, you have to remember the specific V-mount D-tap charging port. And I forget it a lot. There's no other way to charge it, and these are like a full day charge to get them up and running again. So if you happen to plug it in, you leave your camera on overnight, come back to the studio, it's dead. The next one's not finished charging. It's a whole load of pain and mess. These are exactly the same, but they're smaller. Now, of course, with it being smaller, it has less power. But I did 2 full days shooting on 50% battery charge, which is good for me. Now, with all of these batteries, your camera gives you a readout. With these, it's fairly accurate, but I don't know about you, but they get to 2 bar, and from 2 bar to dead, seems to happen rather quickly. It doesn't go 4, 3, 2, 1 dead in a sort of linear fashion. It's like, we've got charge, we've got a bit of charge, we're flat. Once you start using these with a dummy battery, it just goes from full to flat. There's no warning. These are better, and they give you like a 4-tick thing. Now, they don't work in a linear way. 1 tick is not a quarter of 4 ticks, but because it's such a big battery, it's not so critical like it is with these smaller ones. I mean, look at the size difference. But these ones, they have a digital readout, so they'll tell you the exact percentage as it's going, and it seems accurate for my testing so far. I've got 2 of the MOMAN 99 Pros now, So I have one on here, one on charge, and we hot swap them. And it's the same as these in that sense, but it's just shorter charging times. I'm still getting a full day's use, and it goes on charge at the end of each day's shooting. And even if it doesn't, I can fix it with a USB-C charge or a D-tap charge. It's not so big that it takes a whole day to charge up. As you can see, I've got it hooked up here. I've got my D-tap going into my camera, and then I've got my USB-C going into my phone. So I'm charging my phone whilst I'm shooting, my phone sits here, I'm all in one place. I know I shouldn't be on my phone all day, but we use it for Instagram, my emails come through, messages, I often have the brief on that, and also I fire my camera from my phone through Capture Pilot. The other great benefit to these batteries, although with all of them, they have their own dedicated charging, you can charge through USB-C on these. So if you forget your D-tap charger, which I do, you get a USB-C cable, you plug it into the wall in any hotel when you're on set. Wherever you are, there will be a USB-C cable. It's not as fast as D-tap charging, but it will charge your battery to 100%. And that is why I've swapped to these smaller batteries. Bigger batteries, bigger capacity, slight headaches. Smaller batteries, general nightmare. But these are just, it's like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. This is your happy medium. Let me know your power woes in the comments below. Let me know how you're dealing with it. You know, as you'll see from the table, we've got power banks, we've got Sony cameras with the tiny little batteries in it, which last like 10 minutes of recording. If you use this Blackmagic here and you put the little LPE6 battery in there, you get about 5 minutes of record time. But if you put this on it, you can't balance the gimbal. So there's always trade-offs to be made. There's always something you're losing out on with battery powers, but it's about finding that perfect balance for your shooting style. Hope it's been of use to you. I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.